unfortunately, during disassembly, I guess I didn't notice that my camera went off, turned itself off. I had it on the time lapse. So where did I get to? I think the front forks, which was just a 14 mil. The top of the front shocks were these two 14 mils, I think 14 or 13 mils, and then loosen the clamp on the triple tree there, on the lower triple tree. There's a bolt that goes in there. You see the two bolts, and those clamp the shaft of the shock up where you can see the little rusty spot. That's where they were clamped. Then a 14 in the center. This drops out, and there's bearings top and bottom. There's a bearing race top and bottom, and all the bearings, if you do this, make sure you do it inside of a little box or something, because there's a ton of bearings, little ball bearings that fall out. See them in the cup? I probably lost one or two. I did drop one or two. I just don't know where the hell they went. Anyway, that's about all I've got left to pull apart. I think that's all oh, and I pulled the front wheel off. That's pretty self-explanatory. Rear swing arm, I'm going to pull that off, and you'll note that it's kind of stiff and it's kind of locked in this position. So when you put it back on, you'll want to tighten it in that position. When you loosen it, you'll pull it off, and the bushings are going to hold it in that position. And I noted one thing on this, on the frame. Where is it? There's a small crack. You can see in between the flat spot. Right there. So I'll have to weld that up. Otherwise, the swing arm comes off, and then it's going to be cleaning, sanding, detailing, painting everything that has come off, and then reassemble. Check all the bearings, make sure the bearings are good, and yeah, that's about it. I'll be back when we are ready to start reassembling this little sucker. But I think we're down into the components we need to remove. I've got bearings and seals and stuff coming for that type of stuff, for replacing that stuff, and exhaust heat shields. Anything you paint on the exhaust will be a flat, like you can use a barbecue paint, but a flat high heat paint. The rest of the chassis, this is like most motorcycles, the paint is not gloss. This will be a black semi-gloss. So if you're redoing one, you want to put semi-gloss on there, not full gloss. Gloss always looks way too shiny. So this is a semi-gloss. And if you had something glossy, it's hard to explain, hard to put it. Glossy just doesn't look right. It's way too shiny. And bikes are never made like that from the factory. They're 99% of the time semi. So anyway, I'll be back. Okay, the 81 Z50R is done, and the next project is going to be a 98 JR50 Suzuki. Difference? The Z50 is way bigger. Let's put these two close to each other. Sorry, the Z50 is running right now. So the JR is quite a bit smaller. Bigger wheels and tires, but not fatter wheels and tires, and a much skinnier bike. Easier for a fat old guy like me to ride the Honda than the Suzuki. And the Suzuki's two-stroke, and it makes nice wing-to-ding-ding noises. Let's listen. going to be redone not exactly like, because it's a different bike, but in the same mode, completely redo the JR. The same way we finished the Honda. The Honda's on its way to a new owner. Kind of the same era bike. I think the Suzuki, the original JR, was made around early 80s. So they would have been from the same era. And if kids were racing in those days, they would have raced these two bikes side by side, because this would have been our version. Racing. It's got the handlebars that don't fold down. I think they raced 50s like this in the same category. Did they or did they not? I don't know. Maybe it was the little Honda XR50 that they raced. I thought they raced these for some reason, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, leave it in the comments if you know for sure. And yeah, I've got a couple parts ordered already for this bike from Bike Bandit. Great place to buy parts. They've got almost everything you need. And again, we're going to be doing it fully back how it was when it was brand new. Thanks for watching. Okay, shock absorbers have been cleaned off. You've got a top and a bottom on both sides with the little coil. That's where it slides up onto, or the spring twists onto. I'm just using a little rubber grommet that fits perfectly on the shaft, because stock ones had a little rubber bumper in there. That'll slide on there and not move. Tiny bit of synthetic grease. Any grease will work, doesn't have to be synthetic. I just try to use synthetic wherever possible. You don't need a ton. That might need a little tiny bit more. And you take your spring, and just like a screw, it winds onto there, and that's how you adjust the length of the shock. And then this one, the bottom, there's no seals, no anything. It just slips into there, and then you wind that one on. And again, you can see how the adjustment can be all the way up or all the way down. And we're just going to put it all the way to the bottom. Line up the holes so they're both facing the same direction, and you're done. I'm just going to finish off the other one. And as you can see here, this is again the JR50 Suzuki 1998. This is the frame. I did have to, it's painted and cleaned. I did have to weld the center tube there a little bit. Hard to get in there with a grinder and clean those welds up. But the Taiwanese welds aren't that great on their own. If you can see these, those are the factory welds. They're pretty, yeah, some of them are pretty terrible. But this bike is made in Taiwan, not Japan. It is a Japanese bike, but made in Taiwan. I don't know if the newer ones are made in Japan or not, but Taiwanese stuff is good. They're just, their quality, their craftsmanship, let's just say, isn't as good on like frames and stuff. Their welds are not going to be like a Honda weld. I'll show you something else. Here's the rear swing arm that I've got painted. And, you know, these are the factory welds. They're not bad, not great, but Honda in Japan would never let something like that out of their factory, a weld like that. I'll show you a Z50. Oh, can I even see a Z50 weld? I don't even know if I can. The difference should be quite shocking. Okay, you can see right here where that piece is welded to the frame. That's a Honda weld, right? And that's a Taiwan weld. See all the spatter, the little chunkies? That's not dirt, that's weld spatter. So anyway, it is what it is. They're built properly. They do last. It's just the quality of the weld, not even the quality, the the aesthetics of the weld are not, they don't really give a shit about that. Anyway, we'll be doing some more and we'll be back in a few minutes. I think we're going to do the foot pegs now. Okay, so let's put together the foot peg and kickstand assembly. So this is the foot pegs. Kickstand goes back. So this is the front that we're looking at right here. And all we need is a clip, a spring, or a shaft, a spring, and a cotter pin. I'm gonna stick this one on. Slide the pin partly through. Or is it easier to put the spring? I'm trying to do this over top of the camera. It's not too easy. It goes this way. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, so you got the spring in there, and the pin's got to go through the spring and out the other side. Like so. So then when it springs up, and I just put a cotter pin through the little hole. Make sure to put this from the front where your foot's going to be. This is on the bottom, so the cotter pin's not going to catch on you or your kids or whoever you're building this for. Maybe it's for you. And I'm just going to take a pair of side cutters and cut the legs of this cotter pin a little thinner. Why are you bending both ways? One way. Come on. And the other. So I'm just going to snip these longer legs off so it won't be sticking out and catch on anything like a pant leg or whatever. Same for the other side. And the kickstand is adjustable. There's two positions for it. I'm going to put it into the second position, and it just, that's as simple as it is. It just screws back on. And that's it, other than tightening the screw. Oh, and putting the spring back on there, which I don't have with me. I think I have to clean that still. I forgot about the spring. Back in 1 second, I'll grab that spring and put it on. I'll put this other side on, then we'll do the spring. Okay, so we've got the both the foot pegs on and the little cotter pins clipped off. So I just have to put the spring back on, and it's easiest to put the spring back on not when the kickstand's down, but in the up position, so where it would be while you were riding the bike. So up, hook on the bottom first, and the top, screwdriver wrapped in tape so we don't scratch the finish, hopefully. And then we should be able to come up this way for me. The spring doesn't have to pull as far when it's up, so that's the position you want to do it in. And there we go. On. Up. So that's the foot pegs and kickstand. I think next will be front forks. Okay, I lied. I'm going to do the rear swing arm first. So here's the rear swing arm, and we've got the frame upside down. So these little points point up toward the top. And it's just going to mount right there. So this is the bolt that goes through. Doesn't really matter which side you put the bolt on, to be honest. Where's my grease? So I'm just going to lubricate this bolt, whole thing, with, again, some synthetic grease. Grease is grease, but if you have synthetic, use synthetic. It's just a better grease all around. Okay, so we're going to match it up with the frame tube. Now you'll probably notice that I've got a little bit of paint got onto the silver paint, got onto the rubber of the bushing, and that's not going to matter because as the bushing twists and moves, that paint's going to crack off and be gone because paint does not move with rubber. And now our lock washer and our 14mm nut. This one's a 17. And now this part is pretty important. Now, always tighten the nut side. So we're just going to get this snugged down so it's almost tight. And then, while it still can move, I'm going to put something under here, right there. So you want it in place, basically where the wheel, I have a shock so I can see exactly how far that can go. That should be good, actually. So you want it kind of, you want to tighten it where it will be sitting when it's with no load on it, with no weight on it, where it's just sitting on the bike. Because I'll show you, once this gets tightened down, pull the pliers out and that doesn't move. So it's going to rotate on the bushing, and if you have it too high or too low, you could tear the bushing when it moves to the other opposite end. So like in car suspension, you tighten it in the position where it's going to be riding it most of the time, and it will just sit there. Okay, shut up, bird. Some squawky bird. I am going to be back and we will do the front forks. I just have to take the tape off the fork bearings and stuff and get everything ready. Okay, so we're doing the front bearings, the steering head bearings, and I'm filling the race bottom in the neck. This is the frame's upside down again, so this is the bottom. And I'm filling this with grease because ball bearings like to move around and grease will keep them from doing so. And trust me, you don't want to be chasing ball bearings all over the place. Same with this is the top cap that screws down. This is full of grease here, the top. Now let me just get those bearings back in a second. Okay, got my bearings sorted into 2 piles of 25 each. And they're tiny. And you just want to stick them into the grease along the bottom race. And you don't want to watch me stick 25 bearings in. So I'm going to stick the 25 in here. I'm going to stick the 25 in there. And then we'll grease the other side of the bearing race. This will go against this one. So this will be greased. And then on the top, there is, on the other side of this, it's the exact same as this side, except it's on the top. We'll be putting grease in that. But first I'll put all these bearings in there and be back in a second. Okay, so you probably now see why you need the grease to keep all these suckers from falling out. Same with this one. So we're going to take our triple tree, which points this way, 2 forks forward. Slide that in without knocking any of the bearings off. hold that, flip it over, and don't let go. You do, the bearings are coming out probably. They might not, but you've got them greased. Okay, so now I can rest that down. And now we've got a little cup on the top, the same as the bottom was, which we're going to fill with grease again. And that will squish down as the bearings go down in there. And now our top cap that's filled with bearings, we're going to screw that on gently so our bearings don't fall out. And they will push themselves as you squeeze it down, they will push themselves into that lower race. Okay, hand tight. And that's about it, hand tight. Make sure it turns in both directions all the way. And now we've got our lock ring. Oh, why is it that all the way on? That doesn't seem to be pulling all the way on. This lock ring is supposed to go on there. Let me grab a pair of pliers. I might have to tighten that down a little bit more. Back in a sec. Okay, so I undid the top bolt, and the bearings weren't pushing down into the center race, so I put them in that side first. I'm gonna re-grease this a little bit. And now it should screw down properly. Yeah, that's much better. There we go. Okay. Oh, a little too tight. So what you want to do with front wheel bearings, or front steering head bearings, center it and then turn the frame, and it should just fall on its own. If it doesn't fall to the side with gravity, then you're too tight. If it falls too easily, you're too loose. Now generally you do this with the forks on, so that is about right. And then your lock bolt goes on and locks that in place, so this doesn't come apart or move. This one I can just use 2 pairs of pliers. Back in 1 sec. Okay, so I'm going to take the first pair of pliers and hold the big nut on the bottom from moving. I don't want to scratch it, so I'm just going to be careful. And then lightly tighten this upper nut. That'll keep that in place. Oh, damn it! Look right there. One of my top bearings fell out. I'm gonna have to put that in. I'm gonna pull this apart and put that in. Apparently, I was down one. Mistakes are mistakes. We all make them. Be willing to admit yours. That's all I can say. Ugh. Come on, you. Now my hands are all greasy. and back to what we did before. Okay, the loose bearing is back in, and basically as long as this, you want this moving back and forth nice and smoothly. If you feel any like crunchiness, too tight, loosen a little bit, try again. You do not want crunchy bearings. So we're going to take the top part of the triple tree and lightly put the bolt in there. And I'll grab our front forks and we'll be back in a second. Okay, front fork time. Let's get this crap out of the way. You got the two refinished front forks, repainted. And remember, there's two different ones. There's a left and a right. The left side one, so sitting on the bike facing forward, left, has this little notch for the brake in it. And you're going to take off the bolt, the top bolt and washer. Oh, come on, get off of there. Okay. And slide this up from underneath through the pinch. Can you see that from there? I don't know if you can. Let's move that back a bit. Yeah. So we're going to slide this through the bottom pinch bolt of the lower bracket, which is kind of a pain sometimes. You don't want to push down on the shock because you might shoot oil out. So let's get both of them ready to go. And you kind of have to force them through, which could take a little bit. Generally, I need a flathead screwdriver. One sec. This little opening on the pinch bolt, you'll stick a flathead and gently pry it apart so they can go through. There we go. Same with this side. Don't push it all the way up. Come on. Wow. This guy's really stiff in there. There we go. Now, spacer, spacer, spin this sucker around the right way. That would be nice. That's why we didn't tighten that bolt yet. And finish slipping these suckers through until they're just under here. God, that's goopy. Let's get one in there just to hold it in place. Where'd that screwdriver go? Like this. second one. And bolt. Okay. I have to get the pinch bolts for here. 1 second. Back in a minute. Okay. 14 millimeter. First we want to tighten the top bolts. Just snug. Because that will pull the forks up through the bottom. We're going to snug that one a little bit in the center. And now we're going to take our 2 pinch bolts, which I believe are 12 millimeter. They are 12. And we are going to tighten those 2. Shocks are good. Where do we go next? We're getting the chassis done first. Before I get I haven't even touched the engine yet to clean it or paint it or anything. Oh, we might as well put the rear shocks on. Back in a second. Okay, so top was this part, wasn't it? It was the little part of the big part. Big part, I believe. Nut washer, washer on both sides. Sometimes painting things can make the holes a little hard to get a bolt into again. And the top peg, no, bottom peg? Bottom peg. I think you can mount it on either, so you can lift the suspension. Do I want it on the top or the bottom? You know what, I'm gonna put it on the top. Why not? Oh, I need the bottom bolts, don't I? Okay, back in 1 second. I need these bolts for the bottom. Okay, got the bolts for the bottom, which are the 10 millimeter ones. The big washer. Oops. And these are a 14. Here's my 14 right there. And we'll just do the other side the exact same. And we'll be back once I figure out what I'm doing next. Okay, we might as well mount the pegs and kickstand. The less parts sitting around, the better. So this has got a bolt hole here that matches with this hole, and there's a slot there that matches with the engine mount. I don't know. I don't think these have to be off to get the engine out. I hope not, because I'll have to take them off again. I don't think they do. I'm just going to slide this under. And match up the rear hole. other side. And what am I gonna do there? We'll stick a screwdriver through that hole to keep them lined up with the bolt that's gonna go through there. Or, well, maybe I should use the regular bolt because it's bigger. The shaft is thicker on this bolt, so get out of there. It hasn't been cleaned yet. I'm gonna put a dirty bolt on my clean stuff. Oh well, for now it's okay. Just wanted to hold that in place. And I believe these are 12s or 13s. This dirty bolt away from my clean bike. What to do now? What have I got ready to install at the moment? I haven't even, like I said, I haven't even touched the motor yet. Could put the front wheel on, but that'll make it tippy. It won't be able to sit up like this. And it's nice and easy to work on when it's sitting on the forks like that, so I'm not going to do that. Put the handlebars on, back in a sec. So as with everything else, the handles are done in semi-gloss black. And they just have two 12mm bolts through the bottom, one on each side. Make sure the bars are pointing backwards. Sure, you didn't need me to tell you that. That goes without saying, I guess. Come on, get in there. And these are good to have on because if when I flip the bike to put the engine in, these will keep it from falling over. I don't know if I can reach it with this. Nope. I don't think so. No. I need a ratchet. It's 12mm, it might be 13. Whatever that is. Which is 12. Okay. What else can I do today? I don't think there's much else I can do today until I get that engine finished and the wheels finished, which I'm not done with yet. If I had both wheels and tires done, we could stick it up on the kickstand. I don't have them both done. Dilemma. Well, I think that's it for today. So we got most of it back together. We haven't painted the plastics or anything yet, so and I do have a side panel, not this close one, but the far one ordered. So until that's in, I can't finish up anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to get on to cleaning the engine. Anyway, this is where we're gonna end for today. We got a nice frame ready to go, and most of the small parts are bolted back on. Almost everything is ready to go now. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe. I know people say this all the time, but if you like or comment, it helps the YouTube algorithm. They will help people find this video easier. If you don't like, you don't comment, YouTube just pretends it's not there and no one ever sees the damn video. So yeah, help me out by, if you enjoy this stuff, if this is helping you at all, just click the like button and leave a comment down below. Thanks very much. Okay, so the engine's been cleaned up and painted, and again, high heat semi-gloss paint. So we're going to drop it into the frame, which is sitting here upside down. Got my hardware cleaned off and ready to go. Is it there? Yes, it is. Okay, wish me luck. Damn it. Okay, well, the oil is spilling out of the transmission. I think that this spot here, which mounts at the bottom of the engine, I tapped it over a little bit while I was welding. It seems to be the tiniest bit too narrow for the bottom mount to get through. Okay, let's try this again. Again, the oil is going to spill over the breather on the top, but what can you do? Okay. Oh damn, which bolt's which? I believe that's too long. That's not the bottom one, is it? Crap. I don't remember which one was which. Okay, I'm going to use this one for now on the bottom. Get in there. Painting the engine also made it a little bit wider. I'm just going to stick this one through the top to hold it in place. Through the top mount. Okay, now let's just hold it there. Why is that tilted? Huh. Okay. Ugh. Now it's stuck. New paint on everything makes it a little bit wider, and it's sticky going in between. So I'm just going to wrestle so you don't have to watch it and I don't have to wait while all this oil is dripping. And I'll wrestle these bolts in there and then figure out which one the long one is. I believe it's on the bottom. So I'll put those 3 bolts back in and we'll be back once I flip the chassis over. Okay, as you can see, I got the engine in, the engine bolts on, and put it up on a workbench now so I can put the sprocket on. So in order to slip the chain around, I could just take the master link out, but why bother? It's easier to take a little 10 mil bolt out of the shock on this side. Maybe it isn't. I gotta take that 14 out too. Maybe I should have just popped the master link. Oh well. Damn it, that's not 14. I gotta slip the chain over top of the swing, the rear swing arm. Now your chain, find the master link, which is this one with the little clip. See the little clip there? So that little clip, make sure that clip goes in the direction that the chain would go to drive the wheel. Because you don't want the little back, if it was the other way and this little back part was facing in that direction, if it touched something it could pull this little clip off. So you want it facing essentially forward when you're putting it on. So let's slip this over. All my clean work is going to get dirty, but whatever. Oh, I got to grab the spring clip for the front sprocket. One sec. Spring clip in the spring clip pliers. And where's my sprocket? There it is. This damn red paint that's all over the well, I should just take this garbage bag off this workbench. That would be easier, wouldn't it? It only really goes on here one way. That's the way. And then spring clip over the top. Snap into a little groove there. There's a screwdriver. There we go. I can flip this chain over top. Oh, dummy. I thought there was room in the case. There's not. So spring clip back off, sprocket out, chain on sprocket, and back on. Spring clip back on. I'm going to put the side cover on. I haven't gotten new bolts for it yet, but just to keep everything in, I'm going to put it on now with the old bolts. So let me get the cover and be back. I'd normally put the rear wheel on right now, but I'm waiting on a tire, and I just have to take it off to replace the tire. So what is the point? Come on, get out of my way. Yeah. Don't want to scratch anything. Which was the long bolt and which one of the short ones? This was the long one, wasn't it? Yes. Again, these are the old bolts, but or screws, but I just don't have another one at the moment. So they're gonna have to do for now. I'm not going to tighten the crap out of them. I am just going to put them on to hold the case, and that's it. Which means I won't be mounting the shifter yet. I believe this little hole is for oiling your chain. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm not sure, but I think that's for oiling your chain. I guess would make sense. I can put this shock back on. These little red flakes of paint are annoying. Okay. What are we going to do tonight again? I think I'm going to throw the carb. I haven't cleaned the carb yet. Or the coil. I might be done for tonight. For today. Again, waiting on parts. Yeah, I think that's it for today. I'm going to throw this all together in one big video. So if I say this over and over again, please like and subscribe. That's how I get found on YouTube, and it helps me to be able to buy more bikes and do more content like this. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Okay, painting the plastics on the JR50. I applied an adhesion promoter for plastic panels. I don't know where I put it. It's like a spray-on adhesion promoter. And then you wait 20 minutes and put your paint on. I was going to use John Deere yellow, but I had this, which was for my Aston Martin, which is right there, which is yellow. But this was a touch-up paint for little tiny stone chips and stuff. But this didn't match the Aston Martin, so I never ended up using it. I tried it on a touch-up and it was too dark. But it is the exact same color as the JR. It's like a sunburst yellow. I don't know what it was. There's the paint code in case anybody wants it. It's almost dead on, like 100% dead on. So I've just got these up and painting. I think I've got 2 coats on right now. I'm going to do about 4. Old yellow plastic with a little bit of oil smudges on it is going to be hard to, blackened areas, it's going to be hard to cover, but it looks pretty damn good so far. And like I said, the adhesion promoter just allows it to stick to plastic easier, and if that plastic flexes, then it's not going to crack off. On the bike, I didn't really do anything last night other than I put the oil tank on. Just cleaned it up and put it back on, hooked it back up to the oil feed for the oil pump, and that's about it. I haven't done anything else. Anyway, oh, I did put the brake pedal back on. Simply slips on, spring inside. The curly part goes over the in front of the arm on the rear brake. I haven't got the rod on there yet, and I've ordered a new rear tire, which still hasn't come in. Anyway, that's what we're doing right now. Thanks for watching. Okay, just gonna pop the ignition coil back on. It's been painted and cleaned and everything. The one thing I don't know is I don't remember exactly which position this little spring that held the coil wire sat in. There's a little arm there that looks like it would rest against the carb to keep it from moving, but I'm not 100% sure. But I remember it was facing forward and this plug was down. Actually, I should clean off right around there with a wire wheel the paint so that the can be proper contact with the ground. Be careful, I don't want to hit the boot. What did I just do? There we go. You want to screw in. Something's going in. A little bit of paint in the screw hole makes it a little harder to screw it in. I believe this just, I think that's got to rotate down. It's got to. That makes more sense. I don't have it upside down, do I? I don't think I took it off. I don't think I removed the spring from the bolt, but it's possible that it goes the other way. No, I didn't take it off. I left it on there. So it's some combination of over here. carburetor about there, since that's where the bend is, right? Make sense? Makes sense to me. That's about right. Get the cap and see. I use foaming tire cleaner on all black rubber parts because it's got silicone in it, which will protect the rubber and will also make it bring back the nice black shine to it and protect it from heat and stuff. Just don't ever use it on the inside of an air cleaner because silicone does not get affected by heat, so it goes in your engine. Not good. So you don't want to use it on the inside of an air cleaner. Outside, yes. Inside, no. Let's just screw this back on. Yeah, I'd say that's about dead on. Okay, what are we doing now? I think we're gonna do the throttle. I've got to pull the old grips, cut the old grips off of the throttle tube, and we'll stick that on, get it out of the way. Those fenders should be almost done. Drying the fenders and gas tank. I haven't done the side panel yet because I have to wait for the new side panel. Side panel, chain guard, and a couple of spokes for a tire and a tire. That's all I need. Yeah, let's go on to either wiring or, well, let's get this out of the way. Where's the little, there it is. Remember, we still have that little tie wrap around there. Can't remember it went here or went up here. I think it went up here, but either way, that's kind of out of the way. We only have one more. Very easy to wire bikes like this, isn't it? Oh, try something like that. 79 Goldwing, not fun to wire. Oh, my carb vent tube. The overflow tube for the carburetor. Should stick that on before we can't get back in there. That goes back behind the bike. You see the little tube right there. I gotta hook that on there. So I'm probably gonna need a pair of needle nose pliers to get that on. Or not. Ha! Oh, perfect. Okay, we'll be back and we'll do that throttle. Did you see any of that? Yeah, I guess you could. Okay, got the carb and air box going back on. Screws all cleaned and everything. Carb's cleaned as well as it can be cleaned. Got 2 screws, and the outer one has the little spring holder for the plug wire. Just bolts on. The air cleaner, you have to pop off the little cap with the little rocket snorkels on the end. That pops off, and there's 2 little screws to take it off of the main body of the carb. I'm just going to bolt that back on. Be back in a sec. Okay, I'm going to put the front fender on right now. I had to get got in the middle of some other stuff. So, oh yeah, I was going to do the throttle. Whatever. Let's do the fender right now. This is pretty simple. Little part toward the back, big part toward the front. You have 3 bolts, all the same. They're screws. You have bolt, lock washer, big washer, and then this dished one on top. Or does the dished one go the other way? No, it goes this way. And then it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to hold all these in place. Let's give this a shot. I think I can only hold 2 at a time. And they're just a 10 millimeter. So I can slip this 3rd one in. I hope I'm not in your way. It's one of the things with making videos is trying to keep out of people's way. There we go, and should we put the rear fender on? Now I want to put on the rear fender, there's a little cutout right there where the muffler slips past it. And I want to put something heat resistant on there, and I do have some heat shielding, automotive heat shielding, that I think I'm just going to put in that little groove, that little slot. You can see it looks like at one time in its life the pipe touched right there, so just in this little slot I want to put something heat resistant in there, so I got to find something. I'll let you know what that is back in a minute. Okay, reinstalled the brake and throttle lever after cutting off the old throttle grip, the handle grip, and basically grease the handlebar underneath, slide it over so it's just about at the end here. You don't want it touching the end of the plastic when you slide it over. You want it about 1 millimeter from the end, and then tighten the handle on the top, the brake handle, and the brake cable, sorry, the throttle cable goes down between the forks, and you can see it comes down here to the carburetor. I moved the little wire holder to this side so it holds the throttle cable, and then the 2 screws that hold the throttle and choke lever into the top. There's 2 Phillips screws. The kill switch, which was mounted on here in its original spot, the wiring goes down 1 strap. This is the stock plastic wrap that goes on it. It does not go between the forks, it goes outside the fork. Down, I added 1 more metal strap, or you can use a zip tie or whatever. and this was the stock one. This wire that comes up from the magneto down here comes up, and this wire holder is meant to keep because it comes up here and the exhaust is on top, it's meant to keep this wire away from the exhaust. So you want to keep it as far to the other side of the engine as possible. Exhaust on this side, you want to keep the wire as far this side as possible to the carb side. Comes up under. This is the stock wire wrap. This is the kill switch wire coming up forward, wraps around. This is how it was mounted from stock underneath the rubber seat isolator that just pushes on and off on top of the engine mount, and it just slips through once, loops back down to the ignition coil. The flat-headed spade terminal plugs into the coil. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. There's only one place for them to go. Then there's a ground wire that screws onto the coil mount, and I added this second strap just to keep all the wires nice and tight up into there, so once the tank goes on, they'll be out of the way and hidden and won't be able to be abraded on anything. I think that's about it for now. What else have I done? Nothing. Yeah, no, I haven't done anything else. Haven't mounted the front. I just got my tire in, so I'm going to put the tire on. I'll do that tomorrow. New rear tire and tube, so we'll do that. Waiting for side cover. Exhaust. No, I don't want to do the exhaust because then it's nice and easy sitting flat on the workbench like that. If the exhaust is on there, it'll stick underneath and make it wobbly. So we won't do that yet. I can put the tank back on. I'm going to have to cut my own decals because nobody makes reproduction decals for a JR50 before 2000. So the newer ones, you can get all kinds of decal kits. The older ones, you're on your own. So I'm going to make up my own decal kit or cobble something together, whatever. But I did get my seat cover. Ooh, where is it? New seat cover in today. Let's tear this open. Sorry. My reproduction seat cover. And yeah, we'll go through covering the seat maybe tonight. That's nice and easy. Did it on the Z50. This will be mostly the same, but we'll go over it anyway. And that's about it for tonight, maybe. Anyway, I'll get back to this seat cover. Okay, so here you can see the underside of the original seat cover. It was ripped. That's why I'm replacing it. And I'm going to be painting the black mount, sanding off the rust and painting it while it's under there. And you can see these little metal teeth. They are, what holds the seat on. And you basically pry them up with a screwdriver from underneath. Oh, don't try doing this looking through the camera because it's not dead on. So you're just going to pry all those up around here, and then there's a back one. This clip that bends forward, and that holds the back in. Otherwise, it's all these little metal, like alligator teeth that poke down. You're going to bend them up so you can pull the seat out over that. And when you put the new one in, you slide it in, poke it through so the tooth goes through the new upholstery, and then you bend it back down to hold it in place. So we'll do that once we get all this off and repaint it. Okay, so this is it with the cover off. So you can see these little spikies sticking up all along that jab into the seat vinyl and pull it down. Now on the edge, as on the Honda, if you saw the same thing, there's a rubber, it's just a U-shaped channel that pushes over the edge of the metal so that the sharp metal of the seat pan doesn't puncture the vinyl where it folds over, or else it'll just saw its way through. And just make sure that's stuck on all the way around. And I did not remove everything in order to paint it. This is all covered by vinyl fabric. I just painted all the tines, the seat mounts. There are two different seat heights you can mount it at. You can mount it low or high. There's two bolts there. You can use one or the other. And I just spray painted everything in semi-gloss black and these do not properly wrap around the corner, but the fabric, or sorry, the foam does cover that lip, because these just will not bend to wrap around that corner. That is the stock corner, but they don't seem to have cared that it wasn't going to wrap around there, and they just left it like that. But oh, one other thing. Again, this is the original seat cover. Now, along the edge here, this edge that my thumb's running against, there's a wire in there. So when you poke the little tines through, it will grab that wire, and it won't just be pulling on vinyl to hold it down. There's a wire that wraps all the way around, front to back, and let's see if I can bend it. And it's just in the lip. So when you put yours back on, make sure to get it above that. So when it rolls over and pulls down, it's pulling on the wire. It's through both sides of vinyl and pulling down on the wire. Not because you could, it's not easy to. Well, let's see if that new one actually has it. That would be nice to know. I hope it does. Yeah, it's a wire in there, but it's made of, it's like a plastic wire. Same thing. See, there it is, sticking out both ends. So it's the same thing, it's just a plastic support in there instead of a wire. Anyway, we'll get that ready to wrap up as soon as that's dry. Okay, we're going to put the fuel tank back on. Two Phillips screws holding the petcock assembly on. There's the fuel hose with the my golf tee in there, keeping it. I'm going to replace the fuel line later. I don't have the proper size fuel line at the moment, so for now, this is the fuel line that it's coming with. Make sure the lever for the petcock is on the outside. And then the bushings in the front, there's a rubber bushing that goes side to side. They're double-sided. And grommet, sorry. And then there's a little metal bushing in the middle. It's like just a hollow tube bushing. Let's get you under there. And that on top or underneath? On top. So you want your throttle and your electrical wire from your stop switch to go above. Okay, and then you have a bolt, a 10 mil long bolt. There's a washer on each side, washer that goes into there, and on the other side, once it goes through, there's a washer on the other side and a nut. It simply goes through those two little round mounts at the front, and then all the way through, one side to the other. Come on, go through. Getting attacked by mosquitoes. I'll just tighten that down, and then I've got to find the bolt for the back that bolts the tank down into this mount right there. Okay, going to be installing the rear fender now. So the side mounts for up here, there's a metal bushing that goes through there. This one's kind of stuck in there. Oops, this one's kind of stuck in there on that side. It's like a metal round bushing, and it goes through and protects the plastic from moving around. Down here on the bottom mount, where is it? There's a bushing, get in front of the camera, like this, that goes through the hole and protects the hole when the screw goes through. This bottom one's a 10, and the top two are 12s. So let's put the bottom, I've put a bit of, this is duct tape, aluminized duct tape. It comes in a roll. It's like aluminum metal with a peel-off backing, and it sticks to almost anything. I've just put it where the exhaust pipe goes through to keep that from ever melting. Do the lower bolt first. That little washer is already on there. that for these two holes here. These are 12s, I believe. Washer on one side, through the hole, through the bushing, and then you have a lock washer and a nut. Lock washer always goes on the nut side, unless there is no nut side, then the lock washer can go on the head of the bolt. But if you have a nut and bolt, lock washer goes on the nut. And same on the other side. Where's my lock washer? There it is. Can you see that from there? Yeah, of course you can. Why should you? There we go. Sorry about that. So that's the bolt we're putting in right now, and on the other side. And lock washer and nut. And where is my wrench? Where did I just put it? Wow. Oh, there it is, right here. So you want to put this fender on before the wheel goes on, because it's going to be tough if it doesn't. This one's a 10 mil. And depending on how old your bike is, the hardware could be swapped over the years. So you never know what's on there. Generally, you always tighten from the nut side, but since these are not torqued parts, it's going to be okay to tighten from the bolt side. And this is a 12 and 13 millimeter, and again, God knows how many times over the years these things can be replaced. So I haven't done the little reflector on the back yet. But I think that's about all I'm going to do tonight. Getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So there you can see the bottom bolt through, and the top ones for the fender. And we already bolted the front on. We explained that, got through that. I haven't found the bolt. I think I did, but I'm not sure. I think there's supposed to be a little bushing through here for this mount. There should be one of those little washers with an extended part like the one in for the rear fender that should go through there. If not, I'll make something up. And it just, those little washers that go down into the hole just kind of support the plastic and keep it from taking all the wearing out over the years as the part moves back and forth. But I think it's a small, like a 10 mil like this. Yeah, and that's going to be too small. There should be a bushing for that hole. I'll try and find one or make one. Anyway, we'll be back. I don't think I'm going to get to that. It's very humid out, so that's not drying. The seat pan's not really drying, so we can do that tomorrow. You're lucky. You get to see all this in one big, long, damn clip. It's probably going to be 2 hours long. But, yeah, for tonight, I think we're just going to leave this stuff. I've got some crap to put away here. So, again, we will return with the magic of video. I can snap my fingers and you guys will be here tomorrow. And I'll have to wait. Okay, so it's the next day and we're going to cover the seat on the JR50. Obviously, this is the back, so we're going to get this popped in there and centered as good as possible. Still got to go this way. Okay, so we got that mostly matched up. And this is mostly matched up. We're just going to keep wiggling it around till it's centered. And then we want to start with the middle. So again, remember there's this little this outer ring has the plastic rope in it. So you want that to go underneath the little hook there. Let's see if we got this. Yep. So pull it tight over top. You know what? I'm going to bend these up a little more because it makes it a little easier if they're pointing almost straight up. I got them all mostly pointed up. None in these back corners. Okay. Okay, so you want to make sure you're dead on before you do it. There's no turning back. So now we pull over. Pop it through. You don't have to fold these yet, but once you get them in, pushing them down a little bit will keep it in place. And you're just going to go around and keep pulling it. Keep it as tight to the contours of the seat as you can. See up there, I'm going to push it forward and then lock this down underneath. Now push this one in just a little bit so it doesn't move. Oh, there isn't a hook in that corner, so this has got to kind of, well, it's going to be kind of bunchy there. That's okay. So I'm going to pull this side forward again and even with the front. Oops. And then lock this one down. A little further forward. Actually, on this one, it's easier to push the front part here in and then flip this over top of it and pop that over it as well. So you've kind of got it folded in the corner. And then push down. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing that all the way around. I've got to come back and do this one again because I want to fold the front under. So I'm going to pull this part, roll it forward, under the hook, and then this part over the hook. Oops. Pop it through again, and then push down the lock in place. Okay. So now we're going to go around and do the rest of it, and then this one, I don't know why this one isn't a tooth on the back, it's just this, but whatever, that's the way it is. So we'll go around and do that, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, this is like 4 or 5 minutes later, and all the little teeth are bent back down. You can see them right there, right there, right there. Ow, I'm getting killed by mosquitoes today. And In the back, oddly enough, there's just this one little clip holding them. There's no other teeth on the back, which you think there would be. But there are no, oh wait, what is that? No, a piece of dust in the corner. There are no teeth back here for holding them down. That's a bit odd. But I guess being folded there for a while will keep it there. And the original that had the metal, this wire rim, would easily just bend up and stay there. This plastic outer one is not as the plastic wire does not stay where you put it. But anyway, there we go. Done, 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 done. And then this just bolts on the bike. This slips under the little hoop right there. That'll slip under the hoop. And then you bolt the seat on to whichever position you want. I guess up or down. You can put it on the lower position or the upper position. Oops, lower, upper, or lower, depending on how tall you are. Or the child you're doing this is. Sorry, neighbors blowing leaves. I don't know if I'm doing much else here tonight. I've got some other stuff to do. Back in a little bit if we are doing anything, but again, this video will continue. Okay, time to replace the rear tire on the PW JR50. Holding air. It's tube type, and it does have the screw-in tube. I ordered the tube and tire from Amazon, but I don't like the tube that came with it because I would prefer a screw-on valve. I just like them better. So I'm going to try and do this without wrecking the tube, which is maybe impossible, maybe not. We'll find out. Depends on how long this sucker's been on here. Nicely enough, this Amazon one for like 45 bucks came with a tire tool too. I have one, but hey, they sent me one. So the little hooked part you use to remove the valve stem. To deflate the tire. See inside here the little valves in there? There's one right there. And there's another one. They gave me two. And caps. Woo! Fancy. So if you take the little valve out, it just, all the air dumps out. You don't have to press down on the valve. But this one is not fitting super well in this little tiny wheel. Oh crap. I can't do this yet because I have to replace, oh no, I can. I have two spokes to replace on this wheel, but I believe there's one spoke here that's broken, and I believe one on the other side that's broken right here. Is this one broken? No. Ha, mosquitoes might off deep woods is keeping you at bay. This does not have a spoke adjuster. Okay, well I'm going to pop this off and find out. I'm going to push all the air out. And tire removal tools are a godsend to do this. These are called spoons because they don't have, unlike a screwdriver, they don't have a sharp edge on them. And this one came with rubber protectors for the rims, but usually don't need them. So we're going to stick one spoon in under the tire, trying not to hook the tube out and over. Get a second one in there, fairly close. Get two out and over. And now you take your third and get all three in there. You kind of take the middle one out and then work your way around the tire. And this tire is coming off nice and easy. A lot of times these things, after years, they will be stuck on there and you have to cut them off with a grinder. Not fun. So this one's coming off fairly simply. Stay in there, tube. Well, we've got it halfway off. Pop it the rest of the way. So these you would use on like aluminum motorcycle rims. I should be able to slip that tube out so I don't wreck it and it's not in the way. Oh, I have to finish unscrewing the valve stem. Again, it's just a matter of preferences. I prefer the screw-in ones. They stay put. Okay. Push the tube out. And this tire was holding air really well. Nope, this is the protector along the inside of the, you'll see it when I get the tire off. Well, you know what, I could probably just pull this right off. Or not. Mosquitoes are still a little bit killer. Slide the spoon again behind. And get another one, same as we did when we pulled the front off. This one's just going to pull right off, actually. Oh, no, it's not. Oops. The other way is get the spoon in, get under the back tire, pull it forward. See, you've got the hook side facing up. Come on, you. The third one is the key for this the whole operation. I'm attempting at the moment not to be annoyed by mosquitoes. Even though I do have repellent on, it's not really working. It's been wet here for a few days and they are just brutal. Come on, get under there. Hopefully I'm not in your way. I probably am. There we go. This rubber piece that goes along the inside protects the tube from the spokes. Now, I believe. Can I replace the spoke with the wheel on? That's the big question. I ordered a spoke kit. I can't get one spoke. I have to order the whole set, which I don't need. I think there's two broken spokes. I thought I had two broken spokes. I can't find the second. There it is. There's number 2. I don't know if they will. Well, you know the way to find out? Let's take one off and see if we can replace it with the wheel on. Let me grab a screwdriver. There's one. So if this little protector's on, like it should be glued and attached along the middle, again, to protect the tube from these little spoke ends. Where are you? Oh, I've already pulled it out. So let's pull one of these ones out. Just a flathead screw. Unscrew from the spoke. But I don't believe I can get enough distance. See, the spoke slides in from this side and then goes into the... No, you have to put them on with the tire off. Holy mosquitoes, Jesus. Yeah, no, it's got to be done with the spoke, with the tire off. So, I'm not replacing my tire today because I do not have the spokes. I just have to take it off again. So, we will leave off with this and continue on once I get my spokes. But, God, it must... Get away. Everything else is going to be the same. We're just going to put this stuff aside and continue on once I get the spokes. And through the magic of editing, you are not going to notice a difference. Well, it's been a couple of weeks on the JR50 because I've been waiting for parts. I did put the grips on, but it took me forever to get my spoke kit, which I finally got in. And, ooh, floppy tripod. So here's the rear wheel with the missing spokes are here. You can see that one right there. See the hole? And I think there's 3. There's 1, 2. This one's loose. Now the ones that are loose, that are just the spokes that are just loose, you can tighten the back once you've got the wheel off. If you don't, you just use a spoke wrench that you use on a bicycle for truing up bicycle wheels. But you can just use a screwdriver on the inner stud, and that will just tighten it onto the... This one's kind of rusty. It's just a flathead. I may have to use a spoke wrench on that one because that one's kind of stripped. So here's the re-spoke kit that came finally. Oh my God, it's like 100 degrees out here too. I'm panting like I'm dying. So where are we missing spokes? This side? Nope. This side. Okay, there's one. So which one is this? The one that goes down to here. So that's... Every opposite one goes from the other side. So you see this one's got the little ball on it. This side, so this one comes from the outside. Oh, I might not be able to do this with the sprocket on. Urgh, say it ain't so. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I might have to take the sprocket off to get these ones. Damn it. I was hoping I didn't. All right, 3 12mm bolts and sprocket comes off. Back in a few. Okay, last thing tonight, I think we're going to mount the rear wheel and brake hub assembly. Rear tire on it. So brake that side, the other side, the chain side. There's a little pin right here, slides into this slot. Now, let's see if this will stay. I don't think it will. No, it's not going to stay there. Let me put this down. So I've got to get the rear axle, which I've got cleaned up, and I put together back the way it was supposed to be. Oh, I'm missing a spacer. Huh. Should be a spacer on this side. Got this one on this side. Back in 1 second. Let me find the spacer. Okay, got my spacer. So the way this is going to assemble, let me take this apart. Chain adjuster for this side, spacer for this side, and there'll be spacer for the other side, chain adjuster for the other side, and the axle. So let's grease up the axle. The bearings in the wheel have already been re-greased. And put our axle adjuster, the little notches, so you can see them facing out. So you'll be able to see them when you're adjusting the chain from outside of the bike. So now the flat spacer, not the different level, the 2-level spacer. Now we're going to slip this little nipple into the slot on the swing arm and the bolt through. Oh, crap. Yeah, you saw it, didn't you? Spacer goes with the other side. Urgh. Brain fart. Sometimes you need 3 hands. Okay, stay there. Axle, spacer. This thing is still on the outside. The adjuster. Okay. Now, slip the nipple in the little notch. That keeps the brake drum from moving. Slide the axle through. Come on, come on. The axle pokes out to this side. Okay. I'll take my other spacer, and it is going to be the small end that goes in toward the sprocket. So the tiny end in. Axle comes out through the slot if it wants to. Come on. Why is that not coming out? Oh, there we go. Wasn't exactly straight in there. There we go. No, 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 no. Forgot this drive chain thingy. Kind of need that on there, don't we? Again, it's roasting hot today, so the brain sometimes is a little puddled. Come on out of there. Really? Hold on. These axles are usually tight, but generally not this tight. I don't know why this one's being a bit of a pain. Okay. Now, if I can get it between there, let's get that spacer off. just enough room. If like this axle would come out. If this axle would cooperate. God. It's making a short video into a long video. Honestly, this is a 2-minute job. Until I get involved, apparently. Huzzah! Slip the spacer back on. I would really be interested in knowing why that spacer's so tight, or why they're not. Allowing the axle to go through. I mean, they're really, really tighter than they should be. And it's making everything a mess. Anyway, last thing to put on will be the adjuster and then the nut, and then we'll come back and we'll adjust. I have to get my chain guard, then we'll adjust the chain tension. I just want to get all this thing cleaned up and figure out why that thing is not moving through smoothly. Okay, so we basically got it on the third little notch on the third little line lined up with the notch in the center of the adjuster. And I'm just going to tighten it. This is a 14 mil. And on the other side, there's just a hole in the shaft that you put a screwdriver in, or a bolt, or whatever fits. And what do I have that fits? Right beside me. Aha! Phillips screwdriver fits in that hole. Just gonna snug that up. Make sure the wheel spins. Check that the chain is going straight, that it's not. It means you've got your adjustment correct side to side. Don't tip over, please. And then you'll line up. There's a little hole in the bolt that you'll line up with one of the little notches in the castle nut. It's called a castle nut because it looks like a castle. And you'll put a cotter pin through. So it's lined up, but I don't have a cotter pin at the moment. I do, but I'm not digging through a cupboard to get one tonight. And that's it. You'll note, people that watched the wheel video, the tire video, I had to put the other tube in because, yeah, the old one broke. Go figure. The old tube did snap on me, so I've already ordered a new one on Amazon. Let's see if that takes 10 weeks to get here or not. So that's a different tube. So I had to go through that whole process over again. Let's put the chain guard on. Back in a minute. Okay, I have my brand spanking new from the Suzuki factory chain guard. Goes behind the axle. It's got a captive nut built into it and just two little 10 mil bolts hold it on. Hey, why aren't you grabbing? Are these bolts not long enough? I think they are. They can't be very long because you can't have them sticking out the other side. Oh, that one just wasn't centered, I guess. That is all that holds the chain guard on. Good, the chain doesn't hit. That's always a win. Oh, side cover. Oh crap, I have to take the seat off to do that, don't I? Yes, I do. Let's take the seat off because I'm going to put this side cover. Oh no, I can't. The exhaust goes through there, doesn't it? Can't put the side cover on until the exhaust is on. So, that's me for the night. It's about 100 degrees. I'm sweating my butt off. Tons of humidity. Listen to the heat bugs out there. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's put the front wheel on this little guy. So we've got our brake assembly all cleaned up. Our axle. One bushing that goes in the other side. Goes in there. Don't turn too much. Using synthetic grease on the bearings. Check these bearings, they are all good. Squirt a bit in this side. And we'll cover the axle. Oh, back in 1 second, I need something. Oh, never mind, my cotter pin's right here. Okay. The brake assembly back on. Brake assembly goes on the side with the pin, and the pin goes up into there to keep the brake in place. And where's the bearing? Oh, bearing goes on the other side. We'll slip this in a little bit. This axle with the hole goes on. Oops. Okay, let's not tip the bike over. There we go. Get that started through the hub. Now the small side of this bushing goes. You've gotta be kidding me. Oh my God. Christ. Damn it. Huh, nothing. Just the kickstand, Kickstarter. Okay. Shit happens, right? It's just not very secure sitting on a jack stand. Which is barely sitting on right now. There we go. Now, as I said, the smaller part goes in on the other side. I'll show you that. It goes in on the hub on this side. So the axle's gonna come out and go through. Damn, now I'm all dirty.
First time he's gone in the lake since Buddy died.
a little bit tight. Come on, don't tip over. Damn it, I've got to support this bike better. Back in a sec. Okay, I think it's supported better now. It just keeps getting wobbly on me. This is a bit of a pain in the butt because the axles, the front forks are just wide enough to get in there. If I had it flipped over on its handlebars, it wouldn't be a problem, but I don't. Oh, damn it. I don't want to stand it on the handlebars at the moment. Come on. It's like a millimeter. And this jack stand just doesn't love me at the moment. All right. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just going to push it through here and through the other side of the fork. And it'll take me a few minutes to not do this with knocking it over. I'm trying to rush because... Okay, it took a few minutes to get it lined up, so you didn't have to watch me struggle with not trying to knock this bike over, which it really wanted to do for some reason. Come on, Axle. There we go. Now it's going to want to tip over. Now I can put it on the kickstand though. God, everything's covered in sawdust out here. I was cutting logs the other day, so yeah. Where is my axle nut? Here it is. And a lot of this is made for guys who don't know. So stuff that sounds completely logical to some people, it might not be something that that other people don't already know. So if it sounds repetitive or like something that is very basic, it's not for everybody. Okay. $14mm on this side. Screwdriver through to hold the axle on this side. And we're just going to tighten it up. And once it's tight, but not like ridiculously tight, there's a little hole in the axle that you line up with one of the little slots in the castle nut. And again, it's called a castle nut because it looks like the top of a castle. And you take a proper size cotter pin and put it through the hole. Oh, where's the hole? Oh, there it is. I have to back off the tiniest little bit. This might be too big a cotter pin. It is. Where's the next size down? Nope, that one's too big. Next size. That's kind of small. But it is a worker. Okay, that keeps it from falling off. over here to the brake. So this is the brake. It pulls up and stops the bike. This is the little hole that the cable goes through. My apologies, dump truck. Not really my apologies, I didn't have anything to do with it. Spring back on. End of this goes through the hole in the, hopefully you can see this past my hands. And then the nut goes on the bottom, the adjuster nut. Hey, get in there. Why can't I get any more length on this? Doesn't want to go through. There we go. Okay. Now there should be a little holder for the cable to hold the cable away from the axle, or the axle, the front fork. Let me find that. Okay, I've taken off the seat so we can put the muffler in and you can see easier. And I've redone the muffler with, after sanding it down, it's covered in like barbecue paint, high heat, flat black paint, and one of the guards was replaced. I think it was this one. So it's got a bolt on the back that bolts through here. And it has, now this might not be factory, this is what was on it when I got it, was two T10 Allen-headed screws to hold the exhaust on. Oh, where's my gasket? Okay, so I've got a new gasket. So this is going to feed through there. Hopefully I'm not in your way. I cannot see down there, so I'm going to have to go around and underneath the bike. This will just stay there for a minute. I'll lay in all this sawdust. Where's my wrench? Get one bolt started and then do the second. Once they're both in there and the gasket is trapped in there, You can tighten them up. I'm not going to tighten them up all the way. I want to get that rear bolt in first. So this bolt that went from the back side, which I believe is a 12, I have to remove the side cover on the other side to get to it. I have to pull the oil tank away. Yep. And now, here, I'll show you. And once behind the oil tank, kickstarter oil tank, you can see the bolt for the muffler. We're going to loosely tighten that again, and now we're going to go up to the front, snug up the two front pipe bolts that go into the cylinder head, and then once those are snug, then we'll adjust this one. This one can move a slight bit up and down. We want it to be away from the fender. We don't want to be touching the fender. Remember a while ago we put that heat reflective tape on there so we could get this away from the fender. It's pretty tight. So anyway, I'm going to tighten those two front bolts and we'll be back. Okay, so this muffler bolt is a 12 mil. And I'm just going to tighten that, snug it up. I'll slip my oil tank back on. And my side cover. Okay, exhaust on. So now we can put the other side cover on. And it'll be easier to do if I can find it. Back in a minute. Okay, found my side cover. And my camera almost found the pavement. So this simply fits over the top of the frame, which is why you need the seat out to put it in. And there's one little screw hole down here. And a 10mm bolt holding it on. And now we can plop the seat back on, and we are almost done this bike. We have to do the rear brake. You know, I'm going to do the rear brake before I do the seat. Just because of whatever, more room. Let's pick this thing up and turn it around. Let me grab my brake arm and be back in a minute. Okay, I can't seem to find my rear brake rod. It's around somewhere, so we're eventually going to get around to it. But right now, since I can't find it, I put the seat back on because it's not going to be in the way. But I am going to adjust the carb, put some transmission oil in it, then adjust the carb, and we'll start it. Anyway, the transmission oil, this is a 2-stroke, so the oil is not for the engine. That gets lubricated through the oil from the oil injector, which is the little thing under the side cover. That's already full of synthetic 2-stroke oil. So we're going to be putting 1030 regular oil in. You do not put synthetic oil in a bike because, in most bikes, in the transmission, because the clutch is also lubricated with the oil, and the clutch plates need some friction, and synthetic oil will make your clutches slip. So you use regular oil. I'm using 1030. It says there's 450 milliliters, that little thingy on the side. But who the hell knows what 450 milliliters is? So you want to remove this little bolt on the side. It's got a Phillips screw, or is a 10 mil. I'm going to take the oil filler cap off. It's just rubber. Got a rag underneath because it's going to spill out a little bit. I use Dixie cups that I cut the bottom off for funnels. They're perfect for that use. And I'm using 1030 regular oil, not synthetic. I'm going to tilt the bike level, and we are going to fill it until it starts spilling out that little hole. Looks like we've already got enough. I thought I drained it. Huh. I did drain some of the oil while I was repainting the engine and everything. I thought that was empty. Anyway, there's a regular oil drain bolt underneath the very bottom. And that oil looks pretty good. I'm going to dump a little bit of it out. My socket wrench out of the way. Onto that rag. And again, once it drips out that oil, this little weep hole, that should be enough oil. It appears that someone overfilled it before I bought this thing, because I did drain a bunch out of there before I repainted the engine. I thought I drained it all. Huh. Or did I refill this thing? I don't think I did. God knows, it's been a month since I did the engine. I don't remember. It apparently has plenty. I'm just going to add a little bit to make sure it leaps out. Yeah, it's spilling out. Okay. So I'm going to finish letting that drip until it gets down to a very slow drip, and then I'm going to, I have it too far over? No. I'm going to put the bolt back in. Weird, I don't remember refilling that. Again, I'm an old guy. We forget stuff all the time. It's good clean oil. Okay. I must have refilled this. I just don't remember doing it. Gently tighten that. Let's get rid of our Dixie cup. Put our cap back on. And we'll wipe up that spilled oil and let's start the carb adjustment and try starting this thing for the first time in a couple months anyway. Okay, back in a minute. Let's not drop that. All right, I put some gas in. Any little bike, any off-road bike, dirt bikes, quads, any of that stuff, use premium, and if you can get it, non-ethanol fuel. That's what I've just put in the tank. And if you use ethanol, you're just gonna have to make sure you continually use the bike or drain the carburetor when you're not using it, because ethanol will turn into goop inside the carb very quickly, 5-6 months if you just leave it sitting, and then you'll have nothing but problems. So on the carb we have 2 adjustments. This little copper colored screw is the throttle idle speed, and the silver one beside it is the air fuel mixture. So on this bike, I'm going to turn the air fuel mixture all the way in, not hard, just till it seats. And then you're going to open it 1 1/4 turns. So that's, we're at 1/2, 1 1/4. And now we're going to choke it. Which one to choke is down. And fuel on, and let's see if she kicks over. You've got it. Wow, that's unexpected. I'm going to adjust the idle speed, turning it tighter to make the idle go up. Looser will make it go down. You want it down just to the point where it's almost going to stall. It doesn't want to run. Take the choke off. And now we're going to adjust the air fuel mixture to smooth it out. You're only going to turn it the tiniest little bit each direction until you get the smoothest idle. You're going to see smoke from the paint, the new paint on it baking off. that's about it. That's about where it should be. I think the idle's a tiny bit high. Well, it runs nice and smooth, so I'll be back when I find that brake rod. Okay, got her on. So now in the back here, same as the front, mostly. Can I get that far enough forward? Hopefully. Yep. So the pin with the hole in it goes through the brake rod. And then getting it through the hole. Come on, where's the hole? Where are you? And back here on the rod, you have a washer that goes against these little ears, the spring, and then the rod itself. There we go. And then the adjuster bolt. And it's got the little notch in it so that it will ride against that little round pivot pin. And then you adjust this. You just keep tightening it until the brake fully engages after you push about an inch. Adjust to your taste. Some people like them less, some people like them more. You don't want it that sloppy because you want the brakes to start working the second you touch it. But you don't want them fully on the second you touch it. Anyway, there we go. I think we're done. Other than decals for this little bike, we're done. I'm just gonna test these brakes to see how they work. Oops, don't step on a box full of cotter pins. I just want to roll it back and forth and see how much pressure I have to put on the handle. This front one needs to be tightened a bit. Same as the back, just turn the screw. One. That's still a little too far. And you want to see something funny? Let's put a 6-foot, 210-pound guy on a little kid's bike and we'll go booting down the road there. Well, you'll see some of it. Try not to laugh. Oops. I might be out of gas. Good Lord. Easier to shift with the hand. More like a circus monkey. So that's it, 1998 JR50. Again, decals, can't get them. I can get them custom made, but I don't know. Anyway, you see the little oil level one on the side? That one I could get. That one was easy enough. And the matching one on this side. But the side number plate ones and the tank decals, just impossible. So I don't know, I can have them custom made, or hopefully I'll just sell this on and someone will enjoy it completely redone. Thanks for watching. If you liked this long ass video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Anyway, thanks a lot.